Well, welcome everybody. Now that we got power, lights, air conditioning, we got it all. For tonight's meeting, we're going to start off with the call to order and the flag salute as normal and some announcements. And then we'll go through some issues about water. We're going to talk all about water. We have Steve Cole and Matthew Stone here, both managers of our local water companies, and they're going to give us a briefing on what's happening here in our valley. Next, we'll move on to Proposition E. College of the Canyons is here to talk about all about Proposition E, and Steve Petzold is here to talk a little bit about what he feels is lacking or needs to be adjusted. Then Doug Fraser is going to give us a presentation on the manufactured home rent adjustment panel, and hopefully we're going to see some changes there. There is another rent adjustment panel meeting on Monday, and Doug can tell you all about it. Then Rick Drew will talk about a virtual, he'll take us on a virtual tour of Bermite. This actually occurred a couple months ago, but for some reason we haven't been able to show it to you until now. Then we're going to have the 2016 CCAC officer elections. Then our version of public participation, where the first 5 people that want to speak can come up and speak for a minute. Preview of our next meeting, and we'll adjourn the meetings. By the way, we do have some candidates, some election candidates in the audience. So everybody, I'll start over here. Everybody can give a little bit of applause for Christy Smith. And we have Gregory Moffett. Jeffrey Moffett, excuse me. Jeffrey Moffett and Star Moffett. Well, there you go. So we're off and on board in our meeting. You know, every one of these meetings, I normally go through something that I was impressed by. A lot of times it happens to be somebody that did something extraordinary. And in this particular case, Andrew is here. There he is right there. But a couple of months ago, he published an opinion piece in the Gazette. I don't know if any of you saw it, right? And I was really impressed by it. I'll read just a little part of it. It says, "Today we have allowed even the simplest foundations to be governed with ulterior motives rather than focus on the issues at hand, such as our education system and healthcare. It seems that we no longer decide what is best for the greater good, but rely on the media to mold our thoughts and create bias for right and left-wing candidates. For those of us who do vote, we vote based on our political party instead of our basic belief, values, and morals. We need to shift power from the media and politicians back into the hands of the people and move forward with decisions that will make our nation thrive once again." And those are the kind of things that make me think the upcoming generation knows what's going on. Thank you, Andrew. And with that, would you lead us in the flag salute?
Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. After me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, for announcements for tonight, I just want to go through a couple of issues that we've been talking about for a long time. I want to make sure that you know that we haven't forgot about them. We just don't have time to really get into them in great detail this evening. One is median management. If you remember, we were looking to see why the city was spending $500,000 a year for contractors to monitor the contractors that do the median work. And we put in some public records requests. And for quite a while, when we did that, I didn't think we were getting any replies. Well, in sometime in the future, we'll bring this to the group, and I'll show you what they gave me. But they gave me piles of information. I was really amazed how much they gave me, and I had to apologize to them because they did something they've never done before. So whenever I kept checking back on their website, and the website kept saying, well, it won't be available till this date, it won't be available till this date, and they kept going on, while at the same time they were sending me emails with pieces of it in e-format, and I didn't even realize that was happening because they've never done that before. So I apologized to them and said, you know what, you really were giving me some information as time goes on. That doesn't change exactly what happened, but it certainly is a good acknowledgement that they were trying to satisfy our needs. The other thing that I talked to them about was that I was a little disappointed in myself because if any of you have ever put in a public records request, you know you have to word it in a way that you have to ask for everything. Because if you don't ask for everything, if you only ask for one little thing, that might not be there, and they just say, well, that's not what you asked for. So when I asked for everything this time, they gave me everything. I mean, it was a huge pile of stuff. Excuse me. And I said, I really wasn't trying to make work for you. So they agreed now, and we'll see how well this works in the future. They agreed that I can come talk to them from now on and tell them what I'm looking for, and then maybe they wouldn't have to go through all this extra effort. But in this case, it was a very interesting trip through the public records request activities, and we'll talk about it at a future meeting. I don't know if any of you were at the last City Council meeting, but we had another surprise. You know that the City Council is our Board of Library Trustees, and they talk about library trustees at least once a year. Nothing ever goes on in public. We never know what's going on, and the only time they actually talk about it is when they renew the trustees, when they make all the city appointments once a year. So here, all of a sudden, pops up 3 days before the meeting where they want to make another 5-year commitment to LSSI. And there was very little discussion. The council members seemed to have already made a decision. There were only 3 speakers. 2 speakers spoke about their reluctance to accept LSSI. I actually spoke about not being able to make a decision in 3 days. How about let's go out and get a bunch of people that use the library to tell us, is it working or isn't it working, before we go make a 5-year commitment. Well, they didn't listen, and the vote passed 4-1, as you might imagine could happen, and the only one who was not voting for it was Boydston. So we've got LSSI for another 5 years. Hopefully, when the city took over the library, there was a commitment that they would either have a citizens group take over as the Board of Library Trustees. They were reluctant to do that because it gives the citizens group almost ultimate authority of the library, or appoint a library commission. They've done neither. And so it looks like we're still going to wait for an awful long time. The district-wide parks, the county-wide parks district, you know that we had gone to the county to say, why don't you come talk to us and tell us what's going on? And the county said, no, we don't want to talk to you because you're in the city. And funny, but I thought we were still in the county. Don't we still get to vote for the county supervisor? So that's something that we ought to recognize, is when the county comes out here looking for votes, we ought to ask them, what are you going to do for us? If you're not going to come talk to us, why do we even want to vote for you? And so they finally, they declined to meet with us because the city had indicated that they wanted the county to just use their parks studies and plan, which, by the way, is 10 years old. And I asked the county, just come out and tell us what this county-wide district is. And they declined. They just said no. So remember that when they come out here to talk to us. The new sheriff station, there's been discussions about the new sheriff station going on quite a bit. Anybody see the article in the Signal about it?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Yeah, there was an article in the Signal about the new station, and they talk about how they've long pushed for a larger establishment to reduce the aging building. So they are talking about replacing the existing station. Well, then they say, but wait a minute. We want it closer to the east side of the valley. Now, for us on the east side of the valley, that's a pretty good deal. But what about the people on the west side of the valley? So in this same article, they say, well, maybe we'll have an annex station over on the west side. I don't know what an annexation is, right? And then they say, then they said the west side and the east side would coexist and complement each other. Okay, so this still is an issue. When it comes up, you're going to hear about it some more. I think they're going to try to drive it this year. We'll study it some more. We'll bring you more information. But as far as I'm concerned, my position is that we don't need a new sheriff station. We need another sheriff station. Leave the one on the west side that's there to service the west side and give us another one on the east side. I told you we'd keep you informed about City Council, the forums we've already had scheduled. So the City Council forum is scheduled for August the 17th. Tim Ben and I have confirmed. We're still waiting for Bob. We've sent him another letter. We'll start making phone calls. But this is normal. Pretty much it always happens that when you set out and we say we're going to have a forum or something like that, what happens is the challengers always answer first. And then you drag the incumbents in. Right, we'll see what goes on. On the State Assembly meet and greet, well, Mr. Caforio, Mr. Moffitt, and Mr. Vince have all confirmed. And we were waiting for Steve Knight. Interesting enough, I sent Steve 2 letters, or I didn't send him 2 letters. We sent him 2 letters, one in the beginning of March and one in April. Didn't hear from him. Called Acosta twice. He didn't return the calls because I was using an old number of his that he doesn't monitor anymore. Talked to him at the event on Saturday. He said he would send me the scheduler's name and phone number. Called her twice, didn't get any answer. Texted Acosta to help us. Finally got a call back, and she said, "No, he can't be there." So evidently he's not going to be there because they're in session, and he won't be back till Thursday. So we're still going to go on with this next month. For the 3 candidates that confirmed, we'll have a meet and greet for them, and Mr. Knight just won't be there. Now, I did, in all fairness, we try to be fair to everybody, so I thought about it a little bit, and I called the scheduler back, and I said, "Can he be here in July?" I mean, June. Said, no, they're in schedule. They'll be in session in June. I said, "How about July?" So I said, "Well, he might be able to be here in July." I said, "You let me know if he's here in July." And then I thought, that's after the primaries. We'll get him here head-to-head with whoever's the other candidate. So we'll see what happens. All right? Okay. So we'll continue down the road that we're going. So now for our statistics, we had about an average meeting in number of attendees. And for the video statistics, I thought it was interesting, the top number up there, remember the blue is who views it in the first several weeks after the meeting, and then a month later we look at it and says who views it before the next meeting. And so that 70 happened to be about the landfill. People were most interested in the landfill. We'll continue to monitor it and see what goes on. For those candidates that are here, the big spikes are whenever you guys are here. The big attendance spikes are whenever you guys are here. So we'll keep on watching it. So right now we'll skip to the end of the meeting because we're out of time. You know, one of the things about the Canyon Country Advisory Committee that I really like is that we can bring forward sometimes some extremely contentious issues. And one of the things about the Canyon Country Advisory Committee that I don't like is that I lose control of the meeting every time that happens. So for the next meeting agenda, we're going to have Mr. Moffitt will be here, Mr. Vince will be here, and Mr. Caforio will be here. And we'll go through a meet and greet, and with our normal meet and greet style. And at that meeting, you know, we'll have timers running. Remember those? We never overrun those meetings because they're timed. And I'm beginning to think, no, never mind. So I really appreciate everybody attending the Canyon Country Advisory Committee today. Everybody's going to be available probably after the meeting to ask questions. It'll take us about, a half an hour to tear down, and then we'll be in the bar also. So I thank you very much for attending. Thank you very much for attending. Thank you for choosing to come to the Canyon Country Advisory Committee, and I hope you come visit us again next month. Thank you all.